Welcome to the National Snow Show Xtra with Outside and Active.
Extra, read all about it.
I knew this was going to go that way straight away. I couldn't even get in the snow in there before you started. I mean, so we're at the National Snow Show, first snow-related show for quite some time, and that's pretty much how you opened the show this morning as well. Quite high energy.
Yeah, well, I actually wasn't going to.
Okay.
I've got quite a kind of mellow start where I visualise, and then I got on stage and I was like, boom, this is exciting, we're here, you're here, I'm here, let's do it. And I had too many coffees.
So it was a short drive this morning with too many coffees.
It was. I love coffee, and any excuse. If I have to get up early, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Because it means I get an extra few shots of coffee in.
And no kids for a couple of hours.
And no kids. I listen to a 90s mixtape.
Amazing.
It's not a mixtape, but
Amazing.
on Spotify, if you put 90s mixtape in, I'm like, I can go back to the 90s.
So you should
music
also.
was real.
Well, I was going to say you should also go back. I had a time hop yesterday from a 90s, Born in the 90s remix.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I love
have
them.
A look on YouTube.
I just love, Wonderwall comes on and you're singing away and you're just like, this is what real music is. You know? I know every word. Well, I think I know every word, but if I sing it loud enough, I don't know the real words, so it's fine.
So that's okay also. And when you're in your car, no one else is listening.
No.
I find until my child pointed out that they were in the back and they knew the lyrics better than I did.
Oh gosh.
Which is quite awkward at 2.
Oh yeah.
But we're not here to talk about music.
No, we're not. We're not skiing, snow, snowboarding,
it's
anything to do with snow.
Time to get back to the mountains.
Oh my God. Well, it's cold outside.
Yes.
Have you noticed the
It's
temperature's dropping,
this weekend, right?
the leaves are going, the World Cup's starting right now, right today.
Do you think you're going to get knocked off as the only female to
I really
win
hope so.
Slope?
I mean, it's quite funny because obviously I have an ego. You have to have an ego to be an athlete and pursue your dreams. But now that I've retired, it would make me really happy for people to break anything that I historically did. Because everyone works so hard, we've got a huge amount of talent. That would be amazing.
Well, for the guys and girls that are out there attacking this World Cup at the minute, how have they trained this last 18 months? Like, obviously snow's fairly bleak in England.
Yeah.
How do they go? Have they been able to get out to the mountains?
Yeah, well, elite level sport was allowed to travel, train and race last winter. So we still had the World Cup tour. We didn't have any fans. I coach a girl who's in the British junior team, and we were allowed to race everywhere. So elite level racing was still there. It was quite a weird situation because you would go to places where it's only open for racers. Okay. And that's kind of unfair. You see all these locals wanting to ski in Italy and actually you can only go.
So they couldn't use the mountains.
So no, it was quite tough. It was quite tough in France especially. But you have to do that. You have to, if you've got a World Cup, you have to have a filter program through because otherwise in a few years there won't be anyone to take through. And because of the danger aspect, you can't take a year off. Yeah. We are a country obsessed with the Olympics, which is great, and everyone every 4 years gets behind winter sports. But if you don't consistently perform in the 4 years beforehand, your start number will increase. If that's higher, you'll have ruts to contend with, and you won't give yourself the best chance. So you actually have to peak every single weekend.
And you actually, on your talk, you talked a little bit about that peaking yourself. I think you kind of realised you were missing 20% or something. I think when you were racing.
Yeah, it's really hard to admit.
How do you get over that kind of barrier? Because I know Clive Woodward was very much about that 1% all the marginal gains that you go through. But how do you get that 20%? Because that's quite a big gap.
So I mean, first of all, I think it takes a lot of honesty to say that I was choosing to underperform. I'm in a sport which is all about fractions of a second. So that 20% that relays to quite a big detriment to your overall performance. And I mean, I put myself in a position where in the end, I just did a run where I didn't care. I finally was just like, I don't have pressure, I don't have expectations, what can happen? And that was the run I won. So from then on, I was like, you know what, let's take a chance. And I don't know if, on paper, my performances actually looked quite bad from then on because I was getting hurt all the time. I was crashing, I was going at 100%, and that would either be a great result or an injury. But I'm so much more proud of that part of my career because I did have the confidence to take the risks, and so many people don't. They're just like, I just feel comfortable, I don't want to feel fear, I'll just be as good as I can be when I'm not taking risks. But that's not the best you can be.
I was going to say, is that it then? Is it the fear factor?
Yeah, I had a fear of failure.
By that?
But mine wasn't a fear of the process. I wasn't scared of going fast or the mountain. I had this fear of letting other people down because I had so much pressure an external pressure on me when I was younger, because I felt like I was carrying the weight because I was really good when I was young, and everyone wanted and expected a lot from me, and it was really hard to deliver. And I don't know how you have a young talented athlete and shield them from that and keep them motivated by their passion, because that's what you need to be your best. It has to be about you controlling your destiny.
And that must be quite hard, because we've seen Emma in the States with tennis, for example.
Yeah.
And I know as soon as she shot to stardom, effectively, it wasn't just fame, it was full-blown stardom.
Yeah.
I know from my experience of talking to lots of people like you, what that next week might be like. It's quite an incredible amount of pressure on very young kids. I mean, they are kids.
Yeah.
So to maintain the training in the focus, but also I've got this image, maybe even more so with social media, this image of like, I'm the perfect person and I do this and I do that. That must be really tough.
But also you want them to be able to enjoy that success. You want them to be able to let their hair down and enjoy going to the Met Gala, all this stuff that's just crazy and new, but then how do you keep them grounded and driven by their passion and not for the fame? And like you said, I think being able to show vulnerability on social media is really important. And she is starting to come out, Emma, and say that, you know, she's starting to, instead of giving excuses, she's starting to make people understand how challenging it is. And I think that's very important. We know you have to applaud people when they're young and they succeed, but also you need to give them a bit of a break and go, it won't always be like this. You won't always ride high. Sport, life, business is about the roller coaster.
Yeah.
When you're at the top, you've got a target on your back. Everyone wants to beat you. Everyone wants to be you. Okay. The only way, if you don't keep working hard, is you will go down. But when you're at the bottom, you're in a win-win situation because there's no pressure. You will start climbing up if you work hard. So it's, you know, that you've just got to learn to ride it.
And do you think then, from when you were training, because that was kind of a racing, it was early 2000s, I think?
I mean, my first Olympics was 2002 and my last was 14.
So do you think, has training changed so that it's not just about the physical demand of racing, it's also this kind of personal pressure? Is that kind of
I think it's changing now. I think Simone Biles in the Tokyo Olympics, all the talk about mental health, we are all talking about it now. Whereas before we saw it as a weakness. I mean, even I was quite honest about my fears when I got injured and when I was trying to come back. But like, I mentor young male athletes and they will never tell me they're scared. They will never tell me they have any issues because they think it's a chink in their armour that they're not allowed to have.
Well, we're taught to be brave
and
bold.
Exactly, and especially being in a dangerous sport. You think that if you admit to this, then you'll have to deal with it. Instead, you put it under the carpet and push it under, and then the pressure comes and then you can't perform when you're blocked. So actually it's so important that what we're doing now, talking about it all the time, is so important for everyone, and not just athletes. You know, people out there who are striving to be better in their career, you know, they will have fears, they will have hurdles and mistakes and blocks. So this is how we're all dealing with it. We are all imperfect, and that's what makes us interesting.
So maybe interesting link. So I have a 2-year-old little girl amongst my other plethora amount of children. It's only 3, but I say only, don't have 3. But so she has a Strong Girls Club T-shirt and, you know, and a hoodie that's kind of like, because maybe we're over conscious that we want to make sure that she fights for what's fair and all that kind of thing. But you set up a program, I think it was called XL. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
So after the London Olympics, which was amazing for sport in the UK, we actually found that young girls didn't want to participate in school sport if they didn't think that they were going to win an Olympic medal. We put so much onus on the Jessica Ennis, the people out there who are winning, and it was amazing to have those female strong role models out there. But at the same time, people thought, oh, I'm not good at sports, there's no point, because I'm not going to win the Olympics. And so people misunderstood why sport was important for us. So we created this program, XL, where we went to loads and loads of schools around the country. And we made young women mentors for their peer group and taught them that sport isn't about winning or losing. It's about all these imperative life skills that you gain, and actually making a mistake in a netball match and owning responsibility for that in a team sport is really important to reflect on and grow from. So it was an amazing program, and now that has spread. So we've made our own leaders in the UK on the XL program, and then they spread into their communities.
Amazing.
So it's like the self-fulfilling understanding of sport.
So where can people find out a little bit more about that?
So it's with United Learning, which is a schools group. They're the ones who like mastered it, and me and Alex Danson, we ran it. So she's a gold medal hockey player. And you can have a look on their website all about it, and it should be something that all the other schools groups do as well.
Absolutely.
Because it's still out there.
Yeah.
Girls feel, especially in puberty, they feel like they shouldn't be running around and sweating, and especially girls who go to co-ed school, mixed schools.
Yeah.
They think that boys are watching them. And all the interviews we did with all the lads at those schools are like, nah, if a girl's over there doing something cool sport and like putting effort in, you know, we respect her more for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But girls think, oh, you know, my boobs are starting to bounce. I'm going through these different changes physically. I don't want to do sport.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just don't understand the values in it. So it's really important to bring those back in.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Okay, so we've got a little bit more time, but maybe family is the next thing.
Yeah.
So you have 2 young boys?
Yeah, I have 2 and I'm finished.
Okay,
I have
you're not
Lockie,
having... I
who's
mean,
4.
3's good, but...
So I wanted 3,
Okay.
and I've got 2 older brothers, and so now that I've had 2 boys, it would be amazing to have a girl. But my family, we are a swan. On the surface, we're pulling it all off, but our legs are crazy
Just
underneath.
mental
We are
underneath.
just surviving. So yes, 2 is good.
2's plenty. So how do you, like, you know, between all the presenting that you do, you're obviously coaching some of our young athletes, and one would assume you have some free time to go and play in the snow as well.
Really? One assumes that?
Can you do that? How do you fit it all in as a family?
It's really hard. I've gone back to paper diaries, so I have these big A3 paper diaries, and it's really complex. It's even more complex now because our eldest has started school.
So they have their own diary.
And they need to be in the UK.
Yes.
And in the winter term, my husband runs our business coaching.
Okay.
And we have this elite athlete I was telling you about, so it's full time now.
Yeah.
I've got Ski Sunday next year, which is 5 shows. We've got the Winter Olympics, which I'm working on.
Amazing.
And then actually one of us somehow still needs to be in the UK.
Yeah.
So we're not sure. We're trying to juggle these balls. I think something will have to change. But right now we're so driven by the passion, you know, to be back in the mountains.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love working for Ski Sunday because it's also playtime for me. You know, when I'm filming, I'll be filming a few hundred metres down the mountains, so we'll do a powder round to get there. You know, you have got to find times where your soul can sing even when you're working the mountains. And that's what's really tough, because people think that the grass is greener and the guys, the lifties, they've got the best job in the world. Some of them go up there, they open the lift and they sit there and they watch you having an amazing time.
Day.
Okay, so when you get that one run, you use it.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, because I think a lot of people also will be conscious that maybe they haven't been in the mountains for 20 months or whatever it might be by the time winter really comes around. So it's kind of, maybe as a tip for them, go and embrace the mountain, go and enjoy it. But what else would you sort of say?
Don't put pressure on yourself. You know, you might not be the same skier you were 20 months ago. You know, work up to it. Find some nice slopes. Almost be bored the first day because you're skiing within yourself, and then you'll feel confident. Your body will start understanding, oh, I recognise these movements. I know what I've got to do, and then start pushing yourself. Like, do be kind to yourself first. Look at the view. Stop and look at the view. I mean, last winter, I was so grateful to be out there that I looked at the mountains more than ever before.
I can imagine.
Because normally I'm just racing from A to B, like I've got to do this, and actually I was like, you know what? People would give their right arm to see this right now, and I'm going to take that in and do that. You know, be very present.
Do you know, it was the same when we were putting together some of the graphics for this and for the show, and we're looking at all the brands that have got involved at the National Snow Show, and we're sort of seeing everything they've done and where they've come from to get here.
Yeah.
And it's just, there is this huge amounts of inspiration out there before you go.
Exactly.
So it is
Passion.
embrace it, isn't it?
We are the most passionate industry in the UK, I think, the snow sport industry.
More than surf? I mean,
well, we've got waves.
Yes.
Okay? You can
Permanent
access
waves.
them in the UK. We do not have, in Scotland we have got Ski Scotland, and they had an amazing season last year. But, you know, for most of us, we don't have mountains on our doorstep. And yet, we will move heaven and earth to get there.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that we deserve that accolade.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Amazing. That's a very powerful moment. But so maybe also something you touched on in the session this morning, and you don't have to give it away.
Okay.
But you've got 3 Guinness World Records.
Yeah.
And they are not related to skiing or snow or anything in the mountains.
No, yeah.
Or...
How random's that? I love
I mean,
Guinness
I
World Records.
think
Like,
I know
I grew
what one
up
of them is, but I don't
just
know.
obsessed with it, like the book every Christmas, looking through, and now I
So
have
my
a
boys at
picture.
that stage.
I've got a picture in one of the books.
Amazing.
Yes,
Only one picture?
I made
You've got
it.
3 records, but one
Yeah,
picture?
no, you don't. Not everyone gets a photo.
Ooh,
okay, so
honoured.
I've been written in
Amazing.
a few times, but in the last one I got a photo.
Do you
'Cause it
want
looks
to
so weird.
share what they are, or do you want people to go off and find what
Yeah,
they might
go and
do?
find them.
Go and find
Go and
it.
find
Okay, so
them.
there was a challenge this morning for people to come up to you and tell you what they
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
So we'll
No
take
one's ever
that.
got it.
Really?
No one's ever got
Was
it.
one of them to do with something very long distance around London?
Not long distance, a mile, but yes.
Oh, a mile?
It was only a mile. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that one. I'm going to have to look as well.
Well, something's pub related. I'll give you some clues. Pub related, which is ironic because I
Pub
never go
golf
to
running?
pubs.
Card flipping.
Beer mat
You've
flipping.
got a world record.
So random.
Wow, there's a
I
whole
know.
other side to you that we didn't
Yeah.
know existed.
I just saw a goal and I went for it.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much
No,
for your
thank
time
you for
this
having
morning.
me.
It's been really
Congratulations to you and everyone behind the Snow Show, because I know this took a lot of perseverance, and the fact that when we cut that ribbon this morning there were 1,000 people waiting to come in just shows, it shows that our industry needs events like this, so thank you.
And well, no, thank you, appreciate it. I mean, I'd love to say it was me, but it was absolutely nothing to do with me.
You're here doing the extra, read all about it.
Well, yeah, and if I don't mention Steve or Ashley or any of the team, they might kill me, so I'm not going to mention them, but I mean, Ashley, when we opened, to see Ashley nearly in tears as people came in, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening. If you want to find out more about what we're up to and get more inspiration and content and videos and all that kind of stuff, please head over to outsideandactive.com/NSSX. I've got to be really careful when I say that.
Yeah. Did you just say sex?
No. SSX, I'm sure.
NSEX.
No, not no.
The Northern Sex
Show.
What kind of show?
Different show.
Hang on a second.
Wow.
I wasn't supposed to be here.
I think it's time to